Back on the 0. The weirdness of places. So, counterclockwise, and then clockwise. Cathode ray. Find the bureau. Cat carrier. See, all of these places are like kind of weird new places to visit. Let's try the backpack. Children. Let's just see what the cat carrier brings us. There's the lantern. This place is so weird. So you notice how when you go a certain way, let's go back around. There's the backpack. Curious to see if there was anything else at some of these other stops. Tape recorder. The different stops will often provide different things, but I think we may speak to those children. About a dozen children are gathered in a shallow dry basin to the side of the road. They are seated on overturned pots and pans arranged in 3 configurations. One group of 5 children are clustered to the right. One group are arranged loosely in the centre, all facing an older girl who sits on 3 pans stacked together. The boy at the head of the arrangement looks sternly down on another child, a younger boy, kneeled on the stone floor without a pot to sit on. A spare stock pot, perhaps belonging to the younger boy, is set to the side. Sit on the right. Ezra seats himself on the right. One of the other children passes Ezra a leaf and a small stick with which to take notes. The older girl takes a wide brown leaf from the floor next to her and pretends to read off a list of charges. The younger child is accused of making agreements for trading card exchanges for which he was not able to honour. The judge calls a parade of witnesses from the middle group to testify to the defendant's behaviour and character and any related contractual breaches. It's time to pass a verdict. Ezra and his fellow jurors are sequestered a few feet away. Not guilty. They agree that the exchanges were not properly documented. The defendant should walk free but under careful scrutiny. The groups of children reconfigure themselves and a new trial begins with the former defendant, now as the judge. Strangeness. I think we need to go back up here to the cathode. That was like tuned in. Here we go, here we go. Making our way, making our way. The feather. Oh, lightning bolt. It's curious how it changes so much when you move. She said we'd find the bureau if we went this way. Scarecrow. Here, the bureau. We found it. Act 3. Scene 11, Bureau of Reclaimed Spaces. Back to the very beginning. If we go to reception. Nobody coming? Ah, here we are. Lula. Here you are. Marianne has the rest of the evening off, so I'm minding the desk. Any word on the address? The results just came in by courier. Good news. Donald and his assistants were able to sort through the noise. I heard Rick cross-referencing the results against some of our records, and he found a corresponding mail stop on the Echo River route. As it happens, the night ferry is scheduled to make its stop here shortly. The ferryman carries the mail and collects the garbage as well. I'm sure you can catch a ride out that way. You're welcome to wait here. I have to get back to packing. You going somewhere? I might. I'm feeling impulsive, and I like to be ready. Maybe back to Mexico. It's been years. They still have one of my sculptures in a museum down there, did you know? Big, ugly iron thing. Time to have it scrapped anyway. Safe travels. Try to stay out of the water. It's cold and it looks deep. This game is a saga, seriously. Sounds like water in front of us right here. How long do we have to wait? Now, who knows? Alright, what happened? Up to you. It's okay, you can tell them. It doesn't matter anymore. Fine. So we're in that graveyard. She's telling the story. Act 3, Scene 12. Where the strangers come from. Oh god, we're going to find out the horror. Okay, so I didn't repeat that because this time we're actually going in the church. And they saw something they were not happy with in here. The church floor is cold metal, scuffed and flexed by unknown boot heels. This is still handmade apparatus for the production of moonshine, assembled from scavenged metal and natural mineral materials. There's a bench, pew. I don't know what I expected. The strangers, he kept saying. Kind of vague already, isn't it? Don's a stranger. Hell, you and I are practically strangers. Listen, earlier in the mine, I didn't want to talk about it, but what did you find down there? When I saw Weaver, she was on TV. I was testing a pretty simple tube repair, flipping through channels to check the saturation, and she was just there. It's kind of horrible. I mean, I told you she disappeared, suddenly ran away, but you thought she was dead. Yeah, I guess I don't like to say it. Dead. And the next time I flipped to channel 2, Weaver, it's burned in my vision now. She's standing in a room. The walls are blank, kind of grey. There's tape on the walls, like markings. And desks. A classroom, maybe? The camera's in the corner, so it's this sort of 45-degree angle into the room, and there's Weaver right in the centre of the picture. I stopped turning the dial. I think I stopped breathing. Eventually she spoke. But there was no real sound, just this awful hum. I read the closed captions. She said to go to the mine. I'd find something there. I can't remember her exact words. Whenever I try, I get distracted. Fuzzy. It's so dusty in here, right? Yeah, real dusty. You'd think with all these holes in the ceiling. What the hell was that? Did you hear that? Must have been the church settling. Must... Oh my god. Wow. The stranger activates the tape player, slung on his shoulder. A crackly drawl echoes in the room. His patient sounds like it should be smiling. My regrets. I hope it didn't keep you waiting long. We don't see a lot of foot traffic these days. I guess you're here about the job. I'm afraid we only have one opening at the moment. Horrible business. What's this job? Certainly. I'll tell you everything you need to know. I've only just met you, but I feel certain there's a place for you here. I'll just take you over to meet the dispatcher, show you the trucks, get you familiarized. We can converse as we go. What is this place? It's not an old church. No, I guess not, but still, it has all that kind of reverence to it. And what's that smell? Like bread? Baking bread? Please follow me. This is random. I have to ask you to step in here a moment. This is for your safety, and adjust your outfits just a little bit. There's some protective headwear up on the wall back there. Please remove your shoes and eyeglasses. I'm not taking off my shoes. Oh. I understand. It's only a courtesy to... Well, do us a favour and put on the headwear anyway, just this way. Earl. This is Earl. He used to be a beekeeper. Borrowed some used casks to store the hives, but the interest accrued more quickly than the honey. Now he works for us here in logistics. More new arrivals this evening, plenty to do. Gotta relay the formula. What formula? Huh? Oh, the formula. Changed our lives. Once, years ago, we were as prisoners to the intricacies of our debts here. We have to account for everything on paper. Compounding interest by hand, reassessing amortization, and leveraged asset distributions according to nightly merit decay. Then, she stepped out of the dark caves to show us the light of the formula. She had a brilliant grasp of mathematics, and a saint-like way of speaking right through the numbers. Now, we just plug our daily numbers into the formula, and run it all through the adding machine. We occasionally suffer some surplus drift, but she instructed us on all the necessary adjustments. It was devastating to see our revered mathematician go, but she was needed elsewhere. Her legacy abides. What job are they working? I don't know that. It's been just settled just yet. You see, sometimes we take on newcomers already in debt to the distillery. One of the foremen will find something for them to do, chip away at their sum until it's all settled. That's what I'm doing here, chipping away. That's what we're all doing. Wow, check this stuff out. Must be decades old, but in perfect condition. How do you think they keep it like that? Maintenance, old man. I bet it's someone's job around here. Probably hard to keep all the dust out, you know, underground. That's why I got into this business, to keep old stuff like this running. Seems like such a shame to let it all just fall back into ruin, you know? Like that computer back in the cave, Xanadu. Decades of engineering, thousands of years of mathematics and philosophy, all petrified into living stone. How could you just let that fall apart? Here's the fleet. Oh, we just use it to get around internally. How big is this place? Oh, it's grown a great deal over the years. Incredible to think, really. Mr. Bishop founded this operation. It was only about 1,800 square feet, and half of that or more was occupied by camouflage to keep the law out. Hiding out in the back of an old church, purifying spirits by handmade fire, a kettle, and a dream. So the trucks are just easy ways in shipping. You can become acquainted with the dispatcher there. Give me a tap on the shoulder if you see something that catches your eye. Always happy to show off the facilities. Sublime machinery. Off we go, I guess. I know there's another guy over here, but okay, we're in logistics. Ha, look at this one. There's going to be some kind of distillery or something. This feels like it could go on a long time. Spirit safe. Don't let them catch you looking too closely here. Not within our purview. What's it for? Keeps us honest in the eyes of the state, well, in the eyes of the management anyway. We keep pretty well out of view here down here. Not much chance of being spotted by helicopter, eh? But if the law come knocking, we could say we're logging and securing our virgin spirits. We could say. Marvellous engineering though, isn't it? Connie, how's your rat? Connie's a great lover of animals. You know she's adopted over a dozen pets in this as many of the last years? Of course, death comes to all things great and small. Distillery found that the remains of our makeshift pet cemetery were trespassing our subterranean property. Our hand was forced. In order to avoid the legal extinguishment of our easement, we were required to file a civil suit, even the level head. Connie agreed to a pre-court settlement to pay off her fines by working for us here. It seems this totally bizarre place of, like, dead people. It's very, very weird. What's up here? Nothing. Some computers. Please don't touch a thing. Very sensitive devices. We're not even allowed to run the formula through them. We have some computer issues of our own. Computers. Personally, I'm opposed on principle. Am I boring you yet, or are you simply dying of boredom? I myself could discuss this matter past sunrise. We're trying to fix this old computer in the caves. Of course, I'm boring you. Let's move on. There's old Ted. How's it looking, Ted? Get the new fan installed? Ted met one of our engineers at a bar some years ago, and they just clicked. Our engineer told him about some trouble with the equipment here, and he felt compelled to take a crack at it. Ted's been obsessively tuning, replacing and upgrading ever since. Quite a project, Ted. You'll get ahead of it one day, I'm sure. Let's go back to that shipping we saw. This has been much weirder and longer than the other acts so far, the other episodes. Oh, there's warehouse. It looks like coffins. For that draft of warmth, like a summer breeze, this is the aging warehouse. How many casks have you got aging in there? I couldn't say exactly. Take a look at the inventory report later if you like. Plenty though. Of course, we only have half our aging stock in here at any given time. Most distilleries let their whisky sit in casks through the cycle of seasons. In summer, the wood expands and the whisky seeps in, picking up a flavour. In winter, the wood contracts and squeezes the whisky back out. Down here, there are no seasons. Each workday proceeds from the last in an unbroken chain of climate control. So we make our own season. Each cask alternates in a weekly cycle between the cold ground upstairs and this heated warehouse. Fascinating. Let's head back. That's brilliant. That's great that he adjusted his route. They making whiskey in coffin casks? What the hell? I'm not sure if I'm that interested in malting and bottling. This is a huge place. What the hell is this? This is kind of spooky and weird. Davey, how goes it? Watch out for Davey, he's a skilled card player. He once played a miraculously protracted game of blackjack against our old floor manager Jane. Some tiki lounge on the Echo River. His luck ran out, couldn't cover his losses, so she offered him a job. This is strange. Here's the charring yard, vents pretty well considering. This smell. This is why they call bourbon a comfort food. Those are empty, right? What? Oh, of course. We don't really exhume them anymore. Anymore? We tapped that source years ago. They used to exhume them? What the fuck? This place is weird. We build every cask by hand, right here. It's tradition. I like to think our application of hands and hammers to the oak gives our stuff a kind of life. That's what I like to think. They look like coffins. That's tradition too, I suppose. And I'm sure it helps us avert suspicion if a satellite catches us burying them upstairs. Wait. I feel like water. Oh, here's water. It's like a water mill. This place is stranger and stranger. Can't go any further this way though. Oh, it's a river there. Milling. We're at the docks. Well, to make a bourbon you need some water, won't you? Here's where it all comes in, the mundanity of it. Quite impressive chorus when we all get going like this, though. Awfully loud, aren't they? Yes, it runs clean here, but forcefully. We have to use quite heavy equipment just to draw from it. The Echo River is fed from Lake Leith, but you wouldn't recognise the drop of it. Leith is cold, dark, and so very deep and still. Rumours of Lake Leith's supernatural properties are, I'd say, just a bit exaggerated, but I wouldn't fish on it. Okay. Let's find whatever it is the hell we're meant to be finding. Those good people used to run a magazine, paid writers by the word, and ended up a few flowery adjectives in the red. Hard Times co-signed on a loan for Quarterly Digest, but it sank. Doesn't talk much now. I keep expecting to see somebody we know here. See her friend, Weaver. This place gets stranger and stranger. Heather comes to us from the field of psychotherapy. She used to hit the bars to blow off steam after emotionally draining client sessions, but the remedy outpaced the disease and her tab went to the distillery. It's like they've collected people who couldn't pay for alcohol. It's so weird. It may not be a draw on its own, but the food is certainly passable. Most of us never leave the premises anyway. Why not? Well, we strive to avoid unnecessary downtime. Besides, if we're all coming and going 3 times a day, we'd surely attract the wrong kind of attention. Can't tax what you can't see now. I really don't like this place. It's weird as hell. Jermaine was a bicycle courier until quite recently. He sadly misplaced some money orders en route to a boiler maintenance company and was held liable. When Distillery bought the company, his debt came along with it. This place is too big. That's where we started. What's this? Can't go down there. Let's head back this way. Okay, I had half of mine. This is where we meant to go in the first place. Here it is now. I have to ask, as a matter of course, what kind of experience do you have driving trucks? I drove deliveries for an antique shop up until this last run. Ah, precious cargo. You'll do just fine. And you can drive safely, can't you? I haven't any doubt now. It's only after what happened with Miguel this evening. What happened with Miguel? Well, the dust is still clearing, of course. Perhaps he closed his eyes for a moment or simply hit a curve too devilish. I do pity ill-fated Miguel. He was good company and slow to anger, but if we are speaking confidentially, well, with all that lost product to be repaid, bourbon and glass dashed across the interstate, and a few casks too, we're all just thankful he had no next of kin. So let's see if we can bring up the dispatcher. $10.20 on that load, come back. Up in the Hummingbird Cave, 1012 City Kitty. This is a good time, dispatch. We may have found Miguel's replacement. Thought you might like to get acquainted. 10-9, come in. Introduce yourself. Pleased to meet you. Tell dispatch something impressive about yourself. They are very well regarded here. I guess I could drive a truck like this. 99 the wheel holder, gotta pay the water bill. So. I'm certain they'll call back before long. Let's take a look around the truck, eh? Okay. Let's look at the back. Looks like it's just about ready to go out. We have some good strong folks in shipping here. So you never have to worry about loading if you don't want to be a bit hard on the knees and back at our age, eh? Of course you have to unload at the destination, but that's the job, and some drivers like the extra shift stacking and loading here. I really shouldn't do any lifting these days. I see. Well, surely we can spare a dolly and carry a strap for your health and safety. Sounds like a lot of work around here. It's in our interest, friend. After all, we must pay our financial obligations. Oh sure, I know you want to look. Kick the tyres. That's the thing we do, isn't it? As though our knees could exert the sort of force that these tyres see out there on the road. More likely to hurt ourselves, isn't that the way? Tyres look fine. Oh, I'm sure. It wasn't the tyres that failed our dear Miguel. We're quite sure. Conway sat in a dim room full of folding chairs. The walls and ceiling were painted with old smoke. Someone read from the book. He drank coffee as it is. He was just waiting for it to be over. A few others shared. They spoke in abstractions like a program of action. A good orderly direction, spiritual but not religious, religious but not spiritual. All the things we tried. Then it was over. They clasped sweaty hands to a short prayer, and he stepped back out into the morning. He knew it was time to hit the bar. It was good to get out of the heat, away from the mendacity. He settled into it. Someone else from the meeting was here, looking rough. He started a conversation. She was on a bender, a week and counting. She'd arrived at the meeting drunk and sat in the back because she didn't believe in it. She read a lot of French books and didn't believe in anything but the benign indifference of the universe. It was comforting in its way. She didn't have to prefer one thought or day over another. All she had to do was drink and stay indifferent. Now, what else can we show you? Control the wipers with this knob here. They seem to have a decent talk to them. Can't say how they'd fare in an ice storm, but we must never delay a shipment. Better to assume the risk. Always clear skies down here. So I hear, but most of our product is delivered by surface roads, which feel rain quite often, particularly in the spring months. So I hear. I'm sure the wipers are fine. Of course. What else then? Headlights. Headlights work fine, see? That's important. Most of our product goes out at night. You can never know who you run into in the daylight, and dusk can be treacherously misleading with all that indirect light. The magic hour, eh? Magic hour, sure. The angle of the sun at dusk and dawn means the light is the indirect reflections from the sky. Everything looks like a movie. It's all a bit softer. Conway had to get off the highway too. Too loud, too murky. He turned off into some grey cornfield in Indiana. He watched the traffic and birds. Seeing those migrations close up, they looked random. He thought about the loud load in the trailer. Thousands of plastic cups. Someone wanted those cups in Rockford that night. It wasn't going to happen. He was only human. He'd been out since the headlights were on. Didn't even stop for coffee. He cracked a beer at 3. Eyes on the road. 4:30. He dodged some stray cattle. The headlights were coming back on, and Rockford could wait. Early morning couldn't be much worse than late at night. What could they care? He just needed a few hours. So, moving on. Driver, come back. There's dispatch. Now tell them about your experience. Tell them the truck's in good shape. Tell them you'll start in the morning. I've been driving for a number of years. Decades, dispatch. 1033 dispatch. 2 black eyes and a flock of crocodiles. Come back. 10-4, back it down and prick your eyelids, driver. Come back, Lem. 10-4. Come back, wheel holder. 10-4. Got your ears on? Good. Listen to this. So, I think that went well. Let's head back up to logistics and seal the deal, eh? And I've got one more thing to show you. Really? We've got more to see? He said to go back to logistics, so... Oh, I see, park the car. See, I've realised that all this time we thought that, let's head back upstairs, eh? I have one more thing to show you. Wait, we only came here looking for some answers about this stupid computer. Oh, the old man in a cave with the mouldy computer? That's black mould. It's drawn to whiskey. It feeds on ethanol, fumes you see. As we age the whiskey, some of it inevitably evaporates into the air, the angels share. It goes through the vents here and out into the caves. If we can scrape up that mould, we can usually apply some pressure and cold to it. Squeeze and condense the angels share back into drinkable whiskey. Every drop counts when you're making a living on the stuff, so we go down and scrape it off his equipment just like any other place it grows. He kept sending his people here to drive us away. Paranoid, truly paranoid. Well, now we got the formula, so we don't need to go collecting mould. We didn't do anything on his mouldy computer. He just forgot the password. One of his assistants shared it with me. Dome in air. And that'll get you going, I'm sure of it. So join me upstairs. Yeah, for ages we thought Conway had his leg replaced, but actually it seems that these weird sort of people are the ones who've actually been here for this time. That's why they're starting to look a little like him. He's like turning into one of these weird people. Which is worrying. But why? Why is he turning into these people? And why can't we get over there? If you don't mind. There we go. Here it is, a beauty when you say. It's an antique, you know. What is it? It's an alley machine. This is where we come for our daily ritual, to calculate the day's interest and repayment according to the formula. I usually do so at the beginning of my shift, so I know how many hours I need in order to keep up. Yes, I believe you'll do well here, sir. Happy to have you. Congratulations, you're hired. Wait, we can't. It's customary here to start each day with a shift drink. Let's make it special, like the occasion. This is the top shelf stuff. A single barrel. He doesn't... Down the hatch. Venom memore more. Decent enough. Welcome aboard. He's not working for you. We have to get back. He has a delivery to make. What's this? Not working? You turning down this opportunity? She's right. I have to make this, I'm disappointed. I'm afraid it leaves us with a delicate problem. As I indicated, this is the top shelf stuff you're drinking now. It isn't cheap. If it's not your first shift drink, well... There's the matter of this tour just now. My time and experience billed at quite a premium. This is not good for you, my friend. You're in quite deep. On the back of the envelope estimations, well... We have that in common, I suppose. All of us. Yes, I'm afraid you'll have to work this off somehow. It's just the way of it. What's happening right now? You can start tomorrow. Take the time to settle your affairs, of course. The interest begins to compound immediately, and well, we'll go over the formula when you get here. I should get back to work. See you tomorrow. So, I guess I start in the morning. Oh, Conway, what's he got himself into? Shannon, I guess. I'm confused. It's just the way these things go, kid. Well, that still gives us a few hours to roam, right? Where's that ferry? Apparently there's a mammoth on the back of the ferry, because why not? End of Act 3. Okay, so that was incredibly weird. This game is fascinatingly great. It's strange. I mean, I can't wait now for Act 4, see where we're going to go with this. But it is really curious. Obviously, Shannon's still looking for her sister. Conway seems to be turning into one of these kind of like dead people. It's like the more time he spends with Zero, like the more he kind of seems to be absorbed by it. That doctor guy had put something there, you know, they changed him a little bit. So that's going on there. Junebug and those guys coming in, that was beautiful. That was a lovely part. It was great that we had some music there in the same way that we did in the second part. So yeah, it's going along and it's getting more weird. So that was very interesting. I think they actually changed the game a little bit as well, because in the first times when we played, it was actually difficult to navigate. There were several sections which was quite hard to navigate. It seems they changed that up a little bit and added like these little icons you could click. So like I could click to kind of go right the way on back through, rather than having to kind of manually do it, and that helped a lot because it stopped you getting kind of like caught on those edges and things. But yeah, overall pretty random and fascinating. I super enjoyed playing that. I'm a little bit tired because that really went on a lot longer than I anticipated it was going to, and to be honest, I think I even kind of rushed through that. Like, I think this could easily have taken double that amount of time if you were playing it really intensively and you explored like all the different assets that were there and all the different locations and spoke to the different people. There's quite a lot we skipped, so there's a ton. I mean, the storytelling in this, though, is, like, really intense. It's really full-on. Like, I've been talking now for about... How long have I been talking now for? Maybe well over 2.5 hours straight. It's, like, really tiring and full-on. So I'm quite exhausted, actually, just after doing this, because it's just, like, straight narration for that entire time. And... the other thing as well is like the vocabulary in this game is really like quite what, you know, it talks about sort of you know, like insurance schemes and things like this and sort of planning applications. It's quite weird. Like, you're sort of like, yeah, this is going to be like the S23 mine, and the application was succeeded in like this time period, and it's just like, wow, it's really full on, like the kind of narrative. But then it seems to have like this kind of very, like, I'm going to say like dull, like sometimes I'm reading this stuff and I'm just like, Jesus man, like this is properly tedious. And then it has other moments where it's like this, like with the singing and stuff like that, and some of the character moments like on the motorbike, that was really cool. But then weirdly it gets like bogged down in like planning applications, which is super weird. So I don't know, this game is strange, isn't it? Really strange. In fact, it took quite a while for Act 3 to come, because obviously there's a fair bit of content there. But I really, after this, can't wait for Act 4 now. I mean, I want to know what happens. I want to know what's going to happen to Conway. Like, he's been sort of like assigned to this kind of death distillery. Shannon's getting closer to finding her sister, June, and so, you know, they're coming along. Ezra, they're coming along, and sort of they've got their own little things happening right there. So, it's deep. There's a lot of storylines going on here. I really love it, but man, it's just strange.